you really need to be able to discern what is good information and what is just noise. We're talking about how do you prepare for the next market crash. To that end, I want to give you a present towards the end of this video to help you, is that they won't have built up these cash reserves because there's an opportunity cost. If you've been around the property world for any length of time, you'll know that the property goes through cycles, and every so often we have a market crash. If you watched my video of a couple of weeks ago, you'll understand that I don't think that is imminent, unlike many other YouTube channels that are predicting Armageddon, and particularly the news as well, and newspapers, the news media, they're all talking about a major correction that is about to happen in the property market. Yet anecdotal evidence suggests that that's not necessarily the case, and you really need to be able to discern what is good information and what is just noise. However, that's not really what the subject of this video is. We're talking about how do you prepare for the next market crash, which is an inevitable part of the property cycle and will happen. Although my prediction is, or at least the prediction of the people that I am associated with, is that it's going to be around probably about 2026, maybe perhaps a little later than that. Nobody really has a crystal ball and knows exactly when it's going to happen. But in terms of where we are in the current property cycle, we're not there yet. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that. And again, if you haven't watched my video of a couple of weeks ago, and I'll put a link above this video and one down below so that you can go and have a look at that video after you've watched this one, and you'll have a firmer understanding of what's really happening in the property market. But how do you prepare for what is an inevitable situation at some point in the future? Well, there's two areas fundamentally. One is looking at your current costs. So this is a good time to be looking at the costs of your business, but also in your personal life, where you can not necessarily trim, but don't be taking on new debt. In other words, don't be going out and getting a brand new car and on a PHP and then having that payment. It's a great time to have no payments. So one of the ways that I live my life is I don't actually have any monthly payments that I make. So I can actually live on a very, very small amount of money should I need to be able to do so. And that's because I can very quickly adjust my living because I don't have all these supplemental payments. So it's a very good position to be in your personal life. In your business, there's certain things, of course, that you do have to pay for, and that's unavoidable. But certainly it's a time to look at those things that are critical and those things that are not necessarily critical. But the second thing is that this is a time when you want to be building up large chunks of cash, because after the crash, there will be phenomenal opportunity. As a property developer, the opportunity will be in able to buying land. So while at the moment it's very difficult to buy land on market because the price is just ridiculously high, we do search for off-market land, and those deals are still very much there. And so this is where you want to be focusing on. You want to be getting the the off-market deals that are currently available. And to that end, I want to give you a present towards the end of this video to help you do that if you're not already searching for off-market deals. But when the market does crash, there'll be a period of time where people won't make that adjustment. In other words, you've got probably a couple of years into a crash where people will look at the market, feel that it's suddenly going to come back, not really understanding the whole 18-year property cycle, and thinking that they can achieve the valuation on the land that they had on the market. Also, there will have been excessive bank lending, and so therefore there will be opportunities where people have really overextended themselves, and those opportunities will come onto the market. Now, this is not about going after somebody who's got themselves into a difficult position. It's being presented to you, and you're going to be able to help them out. Primarily, it will probably be from land that perhaps comes up at auction or is on the open market, and you will be able to then be able to achieve very good deals in the land market, because what tends to happen in when the property does crash is that the land crashes harder than the house values. So there will be great opportunity there, but the sort of downside to that is, and this is why most people won't be prepared for it, is that they won't have built up these cash reserves. So by having the cash reserves, you can pounce on those opportunities very quickly, but also it's unlikely you're going to be able to finance them through traditional financing, because the banks and a lot of lenders will not necessarily be lending on those opportunities, particularly if they don't have planning in place. Some of them will have planning in place, so that make it a bit easier, but those who have cash, a cash buyer will be the one who's king and be able to take advantage of those opportunities. So now is the time. If you're not into property development, get into it now. Don't waste any time. Take the fastest track that you can to learning how to do this business, because there's an opportunity cost. If you try and hack it and trying to figure it all out and how you're going to do it, it's going to take you time, and you'll have lost this golden opportunity to actually grasp getting into that quickly and generating a few deals before we hit this sort of like crash period. As we get nearer to the crash period, one of the things to do is you want to be basically making sure that your borrowing is not as heavy. In other words, you want to leverage it less. So what a lot of people were doing, and if we look back to the previous property crash in 2008, people were very over leveraging. In other words, they kind of felt they were sort of like in a mania. Things were always going to be bright. The market was always going to surge ahead, and they could make phenomenal profits. And of course, the people very much came unstuck. And so the level of crash that happens in 2026, or exactly when it is, will be determined by what the growth is over the next few years. So it may not be a phenomenal growth over the next few years, or it may be. If it's a high growth over the next few years, then there'll be a bigger crash. If it's a lower growth, then it'll be more of a flatlining. So we don't really know how this is going to play out, but it's something to certainly watch the property market, and stay in touch with this channel, because I will be keeping you updated as we go through the cycle, and to really help you on this journey. Now, I said I had a free group offer for you, and it's simply, I published a book a few months ago called You a Property Developer, and I'm offering you the first 3 chapters, which talks about finding land. You see, the most important thing in property development is finding the deal first. A lot of people worry about, oh, I don't have the money to do this, but the money will come if you have the right deal. And after all, you can't involve private investors into your deal if you don't have a deal. You've got nothing for them to look at, or even traditional lenders. They've got nothing to look at until you've got a deal. So once you've got a deal, then you've got something you can take to lenders, whether that be private investors or whether it be traditional lenders, and say, look, this is the deal, this is how it stacks up, this is how you're going to get your money back, this is how you're going to make money out of it, this is a deal that works. And so those first 3 chapters talk about how you actually go out and find the off-market land, how you properly evaluate it, because this is really important, because you can lose a lot of money if you don't properly investigate that piece of land. It's not like a house. There's a lot of different factors here where it can go badly wrong if you don't check it out properly. And then negotiate that deal, because you're going to be dealing directly with the landowner and negotiating with them. The process that we use makes this actually very much simpler than it sounds, because it's not like a hard negotiation. It's really about a profit share, because what you're going to do is you're going to take their raw land, which will have a certain value, and you're going to increase the value by gaining planning on that, and then you share that profit with the landowner so that you're compensated for your expenses and for your time involved, and also for the risk that you're taking, although we show you how to mitigate that risk as well. So that's an opportunity for you. The first 3 chapters of my book, there'll be a link somewhere around this video for you to be able to access that, a special page where you'll be able to go and be able to access that. And I look forward to helping you prepare for the next property crash and get you started on your property development journey.